Hey guys, welcome to day number 20 of my 365-day video transformation. And today I want to talk about 2 lessons I've learned from running in the snow. So this morning I was running in about 2 inches of snow. And as I was running on the snow, I started to think to myself, what lessons can running in the snow teach us? So I was pondering that on my run, and the following are 2 lessons that I came up with as I was running in the snow. So the first lesson that I learned is that the path not already taken is actually easier. Now, I was doing my jog, and you may already know this if you're a runner, but if you're running on the snow and in a path, and I do this a lot when I'm just walking down the street, I look for paths that have already been walked on or ran on in this case. So I'm running on this path that people have already walked on, and I found that because the path was already smashed down and there was different angles and divots and hills and ridges because of people's feet print, I was finding it kind of difficult. I was sliding a little bit here and there as I was running. I decided to just move a foot to the left on the fresh path of snow, and I found that it was much easier. I wasn't having the same difficulties. So what did I learn from this? I learned that the path, the road less traveled is often easier than the path that's already been traveled. But we tend to look for the path of least resistance, and it appears to be, less resistance if we're already running on snow that's already been beaten down. But it's not. It's actually more difficult. So the lesson that I learned is that we need to look for a path that hasn't already been taken. Each step that I took in the fresh snow was perfectly conforming to my foot. Because it was only my foot that was there. So don't look for the easiest path or what appears to be the easiest path, because invariably it's going to turn out to be much more difficult than just making your own way on your own path. The second thing I learned this morning while on my run is that you need to focus on the present. And I know we've heard this 100 times before, or if not 1,000 times before, but it's very true. As I was running my 5K that I run. I usually run about 3.5 miles, so a little over a 5K. I was getting started. I was about a half mile in, and I was like, oh man, I'm looking at mile 2, mile 3. I'm like, oh, this is going to be tough because my calves were burning. Each step I couldn't get the acceleration because of the snow, right? And half the time I was running in the path that people had already taken until I learned my lesson. But I just started thinking too far in advance about how difficult it was going to be, and it wasn't until I brought myself back to my present moment and how am I dealing with this in the moment, each step. And then just watching the snow fall, and it became kind of easy actually. I didn't have the weight of the entire run on my shoulders. I was just focused on the present. So that's another lesson that I've learned while running in the snow is that, in difficult times, don't look towards the whole journey. If you're doing a 365-day video project, for example, sometimes I look at that, I'm on day 20, I have 345 more days to go. I don't need to look at that. I just need to look at this on a day-to-day basis, and that I'm performing the new actions on a daily basis, and I just need to focus on today. And I'll do the same thing tomorrow. But just focusing on the present doesn't put the burden of the entire process or project that we're working on our shoulders. And it makes it much easier, and you may find that actually you're enjoying the present moment. And I found that I was actually enjoying each step as I was running and watching the snow fall. And you just forget about the entire journey and just focus on the present. And then every once in a while it may come to you, oh yeah, I'm halfway there now. So that was the second thing that I learned while running in the snow today. So number 1 is just don't focus on trying to find the path of least resistance. Make your own way. And you're going to find that your own way is going to be much easier than trying to take the path of least resistance and the path that everyone else is taking. And number 2 is just focus on the present. And during difficult times in life, don't look at the entire hill that you have or mountain that you have to climb. Just look at your next step and what you have to do today, and you may actually find that the journey is actually enjoyable. So I'll leave you with that, and I will talk to you tomorrow.